All right. Welcome, everybody. This is Summer and Giselle today on Get Resourced, where we talk about everything about your relationships to self source and others. We're on a little bit late. Oh, because technology. And I think this is going to be an interesting conversation because, ah, well, I'm going to ask you, Giselle, today. Well, I should introduce you because you've been on this before.
Mhm.
Um, and maybe give yourself a brief introduction. Giselle is one of our interns in the Relational Wisdom School, taking the Empowered Empath program. She's got a ton of wisdom and experience in life with Al Anon and spirituality and healing. And it's very exciting to have her here today because Andre is away teaching a intro to conscious communication all the way streaming in Amsterdam with one of our teachers who is been teaching nonviolent communication for like 25 years. So he's not available today. So Giselle, is there anything you want to say or add to that today to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you very much for asking me to participate today, Summer. I'm very happy to be here. I wasn't sure I was going to make it today because I had a very stressful day yesterday,
Yeah.
emotionally, and I was very, very exhausted last night. So I thought, what kind of wisdom can I partake in today? I don't know. It's like, ah.
Yeah.
So I've been with Summer. I've known Summer and Andre since May. Well, known Summer since May of 2023. It's been a few years. Um, I met Summer in a healing circle that she had. Took me a while, but I joined the Soul Academy. And then I went on from there. In about the middle of the year of the Soul Academy, I had a sort of this idea that we did an inside out, and it came to me that I did not want to become obsolete.
Oh.
And what that brought up for me, and what Summer also mentioned to me, well, maybe you'd be interested in going on and learning more about this, and maybe perhaps at some point teaching and sharing all of that. And what I realized from that is that as I got older and retired, and I think I had gifts all along the way, but I was trying to fit the gifts that I had, my knowledge and my learning and my perseverance and my always searching, searching, searching. I'd used those gifts in a way that fit into society. So I didn't ever allow them to really sort of come out of me in an authentic way. I tried to fit everything in to the way people would perceive me.
Mm-hmm.
So I've now come to a point where, yeah, I'm 72 years old now. This summer I know. I decided to completely retire. I didn't work this summer at all. I didn't volunteer. I didn't do anything except concentrate on me and what I wanted to do. So it's been a real summer of freedom, a lot of healing. And what I realized from that, with the help of Summer and my sisters in the Soul Academy, is that I have all this wisdom that I've learned and stored up for many, many years, and shared little bits and pieces of it over the years, but never really embraced it all. And I realized that in our society, in Western culture, um, age and wisdom are not embraced like they are in other cultures, in the Eastern culture. We're put in retirement homes, or it's like, oh, and I heard, actually, I was looking up the word retirement on Google, and one of the synonyms were being put out to pasture. And I thought, holy cow, whoa.
Oh,
I thought, no, I'm not a
no.
cow. I'm not ready for that. I know, it was quite interesting. I kind of went, wow, this is actually in writing somewhere. So what I realized is that, and I'd always through my life, I knew from a very early age that I had some sort of purpose. There was a purpose. I was taught that through the church. We're born. There's a purpose for each of us. And I kept thinking it was these purposes that were, these extreme, like, oh, I'm going to be this and I'm going to be that. I'm going to be a doctor and there's a purpose that had to be very loud and very visible. When I
Mm.
realized through all of this learning is the only purpose that I have really is to really uncover and become who I was supposed to be before all the life took over, the controls and the society and the traumas and everything took over. So my real purpose is just to be who I truly was meant to be right from the beginning, from when I was born, and recovering all of that. So that's been my journey in recovery. It's been recovering who that is inside of me, that essence, that part of me that can share, that can be a light in the world instead of being buried by all my fears and all my saboteurs and all, because that's what's happened. So
Interesting.
that's been my purpose. That's what I've discovered.
I love how you've just reframed recovery in that way, to recover all of those parts of yourself. Um,
Yeah.
and how you've just taken off on this. And you started with the word, I realized as you were coming into the relational wisdom school and the empowered empath program that you didn't want to be obsolete. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm just repeating this partly because it wasn't recording. And I think it's some very valuable information for people who um, maybe want to re-inspire instead of retire, and what that might look like for them. Um, and I know you have a really large vocabulary. You were in Al-Anon for 40 years, and some things about what we typically call recovery. And I love how you just said it was recovering who you were meant to be authentically in the world. And that's really your
Hmm.
purpose. And all the wisdom that you share in the healing circles and the groups that we're in, and the confidence that you've gained. Um, what is the most profound thing that you've taken from that you didn't expect, do you think?
The most profound thing. Wow, that's a big question because there's
It is a big
lots of them.
question.
There's lots of
Oh,
profound
there's lots of
things.
them. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Um, it was interesting because when I first came to the Soul Academy, I was searching for connection with others. What I realized that was very profound for me was that I didn't connect with myself. I had no connection with myself. I was looking out there all the time for connection, for someone else to validate me, to someone else to make me happy, to some other career to make me feel fulfilled. And so one of the most profound things has been that it's taught me that I already have those all inside of me. And my connection was that I did not have a connection with myself at all.
Yeah.
I did not, like I said, I listened, I became someone who everybody else wanted me to be. I had no idea who I was myself, really. I thought I did. I thought I knew who I was. I thought I had a very strong understanding of that. But it was mostly what I thought, not what I felt. And so, my saboteurs were very big people pleaser, very big. I was an avoider, just avoided confrontation by all means. Um, I suffered from, like it's interesting. I've been listening to Gabor Mate, and he said that some of the two beliefs that sabotage mental health are: one, you are responsible for what others feel, what other people feel. And two,
Mm,
you must never disappoint anyone.
mhm.
And I had both of them, big time. They were what I believed strongly, and did not realize how much damage that was doing to me. And also, what's been very profound for me is that I come from a family of six. I'm the eldest. And along with that came a lot of responsibility. And that was put on me from whatever understanding that I got growing up. That I was responsible for my siblings. They were always watching me. I had to put on a good example. I had to take care of them. That was a big responsibility. And I realized that my mother was firstborn, and that's how she trained me. That's what she knew, right? So, but what I've realized is that I had to do a lot of healing within my own family because we all believed that. I come from a family of people pleasers, you know, and so we all did that to each other. So no, we never had big arguments or fights or anything, but there
Mm,
was all these secrets, these underlying things. Well, don't say that because you'll upset that person. So we weren't even authentic with each other.
right. So
So
a
there would
family
be like,
with
yeah,
secrets. Yeah.
family of
Can you
secrets. And I was
repeat?
the biggest, I was the secret keeper because
Uh,
everybody would tell me everything. And then I had to maneuver somehow. Well, and so I was in that still mindset of, well, I had to protect everyone. Right. So,
so
yeah. So it was
that's
big.
tiring.
It was, yeah, very exhausting. And every time I would meet with my family, oh my God, I'd come back and I'd be like a week in bed. I was so exhausted. And I never understood why, because I love them. I never understood why I was so exhausted. But through
Oh,
this
good.
program and through the healing I've done, because I could never be who I was authentically supposed to be. I always had to be this example, I don't know if that
The
answered your question,
perfect
but kind
sister.
of the act of a perfect sister, of
Yeah.
always having the answers for everyone else
Mm.
when I didn't
And
even
could
have the answers for myself.
right. And I just wanted to
Mhm.
ask you to repeat those two things that Gabor Mate talks about
Yeah.
that affect mental health most.
It's the two beliefs that sabotage mental health. One, you are responsible for what other people feel. And two, you must never disappoint anyone. Can you imagine?
Mm.
Well, I did. I lived my life like that. So I never, of course, I came out of all of this not even knowing who the hell I am because I've been constantly, maneuvering everybody, controlling situations because I wanted everybody to like me. I didn't want to upset anybody. So it was like wow. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm surprised I don't look older than I am. Because it is, he
Yeah.
goes on to say that common patterns of thought in nearly every person struggling with chronic illness, addiction, or persistent mental health challenges. These are the thoughts that he says. And these beliefs can be buried deep in your mindset. They can, uh, they can, they quietly shape a life of self-suppression, stress, and emotional burnout.
Well, I was going to say a lot of healers out there. That's one thing. And it's striking a chord with me today. I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
have I disappointed my daughter? Am I, responsible? And I'm like, this is kind of a little bit of a nudge to breathe into that. So as you've tackled those two things, how has that shifted what you think your purpose is, and also how it's shifted the dynamic in your family?
What it's done to shift my purpose is that I am no longer the fixer. I had the attitude that my purpose was to fix something that was broken, someone that was broken. Primarily, it was myself to begin with. And then I saw all the similarities in my family. So then it became my job to fix them as well. And so what shifted is it's now the whole mindset of I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed. I'm not broken. They're not broken. They don't need to be fixed. So it's carried on in that way, the way I see my family. And what's happened, what's shifted in the way I see my family now is I can authentically see them for who they are and the struggles they're having and not judge them for being broken and not knowing enough, which I did before. And I also I've now actually, instead of looking as myself as being the older sibling and responsible for all of them and resenting that for a long time. I resented that idea for a long time. And now I can go, yeah, I am the older sibling and I'm embracing that. I'm embracing the idea that no, I'm not an expert at anything, but I do have this wisdom that I can share if they want it. And I don't force it on them. But I've also learned that it's my behaviors that impact them, not what I say. It's my behaviors. It's how I behave. So now it's like, I remember when I first started going to Al Anon, I thought, oh God, my whole family needs this. They need to know all of this. And I shoved it. I was trying to shove it down their throat. It's like every time we met, it was like, well, in Al Anon, I learned this, and I'd be just like, and what was happening was they were running away from me because they didn't want to hear it. I was like, I said, I'd found this magic cure, right? And so that phrase, practice what you preach, comes into that very much for me. Because, I had to practice it, not preach it. And so now, do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like now I'm kind of at
Yeah,
a
I
point
think
in my
a lot of
life.
people.
It's like if they don't
Yeah, I think a
see
lot of
me
people.
practicing what I'm saying, then it's like, well, that's not, I mean, what is it? My sister said one time, she said, all this stuff you're doing, and you're still struggling. You're still struggling. So she said, obviously, that's not helping you. But what she didn't realize, and what I didn't realize at the time, is even though I'm doing all this work, there's still struggle. We're human beings. There's still struggle. It makes it clearer, but there's still times that it's like this wave. It's like, okay, I'm down in this valley right now and I'm struggling with this. But now I have the trust that I will come out of the valley and I will learn something from it. And that's been a great deal of learning for me.
Right, because I think there was times you were quite depressed. You suffered from
Oh, I did.
depression for a while,
I
and
suffered from depression.
as we came on the call, we were both like, "Oh, we're both frustrated today, man. There's just been things that have been happening that just feel so sluggish and irritating, and
Mhm.
it's not a normal thing for me." So trust to come out of the valleys. Interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I think that, um, most of my life was fueled by fear, fear of not being good
Mm-hmm.
enough, fear of not being loved, fear of rejection, fear of not being successful, fearing of being successful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of my life was fueled by fear. And I still at times, but now I recognize that fear is about not trusting that everything will be okay. It's lack of trust. So now when fear shows up in my life, I'll go, okay, I can go, okay, fear is kind of really, really there right now, and I'm recognizing it. And I know that it's because I'm not trusting. I'm not trusting that everything's going to be okay. So it's shifted.
Well, what would you say to people though that oh, it's going to be okay. It sounds pretty freaky fluffy. Let's just trust it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
how can you ground that for people that say, well, it's obviously not okay because of XYZ and this happened and they've got the proof that it's really not okay.
Yeah. What I say to them? Mm. Yeah, it does sound kind of fluffy, doesn't it? It's like, trust that it will all work out. Um, I I don't God, that's a tough one because I know fear is a very real thing, and fear is a lie. Fear, there's an acronym
Mm.
I used to use. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And fear comes
Yep.
in for me when I'm believing something that I've learned from whatever, from the outside, and it's not true. It's just a lie. I don't know how to put that into words. I'm struggling with that one because I know for me,
Mm.
those are very different lines. Fear and trust are very, there's the line. Okay. I'm not trusting, so I'm fearful. I'm not trusting that, everything will be okay. And also going back on things that I've learned in the past, yes, when I felt this way before, how did it work out? You know,
Mm.
did I die? Was there some catastrophe that happened? No, there wasn't. I came through it. I'm still here. So also relying on that. I don't know. Does that answer your question? I don't know. What do
A
you
little bit,
think?
yeah. I mean, fear is a I mean it's based on thoughts, right? Fear-based thoughts. What do we think is going
Yeah.
to happen? And the more we ruminate, the more we create it, right? And
Mhm.
how do we switch ourselves into a level of trust? And I think you're right, it's experience. Oh, the last time this happened, and I went into my feelings and I trusted what I needed and I acted from that place instead. Oh, it did turn out
Mhm.
really well. In fact, I learned something better than I ever expected would happen in the first place. And I guess noticing when we have these fear based thoughts, our protectors, our saboteurs, and when we take action from that place, what
Mhm.
happens? And
Yeah.
I've had a recent experience with my daughter where I was in a fear based place. It didn't turn out good. So, although it
Mhm.
sounds kind of flaky and fluffy, trust everything will work out. Embodying it is a bit of a trick in our culture. It takes a lot of wisdom to see
Mhm.
how life works. And also the courage not to play a victim in your own life, right? Oh, poor me, it's all happening to
Why
me.
was a big
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Tell me more about that. How was Tell me about
Well,
your victim
my victim saboteur was very powerful. When I
Mm.
was 18 years old, I tried to commit suicide. And that was
Wow.
based on some beliefs that I had. That I had been in love with someone when I was growing up. I was part of the Catholic Church, and we had sex. And I was like young, and we weren't married, and that was very frowned upon. And I really believed in a God that expected perfection from me.
Mm.
Um, and so when that happened, um, and then we broke up because I thought we were going to get married. So I thought, okay, I'm safe. We're going to get married anyway. That didn't happen. So then I tried, and then it was a year after we broke up, and I'd been struggling so much with these self-loathing feelings of, oh, I'll never be good enough for anybody. I left the church. They would never accept me. I would never be forgiven. And so I got really depressed and I tried to commit suicide. I came out of that
Wow. Hmm.
And I'd gone to a psychiatrist for a while, and I decided that I needed a geographical change. I thought if I move away, then things will be better, right? So I did that. I moved to BC for a while. I met someone there, got engaged. That didn't work. And I met my first husband. I married him because, and I mean, I did love him, but one of the reasons I married him, now that I look back, is that, oh, he is accepting me. He's loving me. He doesn't matter to him what I've done in the past. He loves me anyway. So I accepted less because of the way I felt about myself. So I lived my
Right.
life and I went through
Again,
these,
you're broken.
and I was broken. I was broken, and he was willing to accept that. So I thought, oh God, okay, here we go. I'm saved. So I went on and lived my life for 14 years with this man, went through different waves and, waves of depression, went on medication for depression for a long time. I was on medication for it because I was looking for a quick fix. I needed to feel better, and
Right.
I didn't feel better. I felt terrible. And so I wanted it to go away. I wanted the feelings to go away. My depression was all based on I wasn't good enough. I just wanted to die. I didn't want to be around. I wanted to avoid all these. So I wanted to die. And as I got further into my maturity, I realized that my depression was my victim. It was going, okay, well, don't bother. Just, I used it as a tool, um, not really recognizing that and not doing it on purpose, but I used it as a tool. Okay, no, don't do that to Giselle because she's going to get depressed. She's going to feel bad. So I would control people like that, not really knowing that I was doing that, but that's what I was doing. So a few years back, I'd gone on and off medication over the years, right? And again, every time something would be difficult, my victim would kick in. It's like, okay, I want to run away. I want to avoid this. I want to hide. That was my victim. And because, oh, poor me, life's too hard. I don't want to feel this pain. And so I'd gone on and off medication over the years. The last time I went off medication, I made the decision, and I had to make the decision that I wanted to live. And that was a decision I had to make. And now it was finding a way to live. And so I went off the medication, and I remember, and I literally felt this hole in my chest. And it was a hole. And I thought, okay. And I'd been in and out of Al-Anon, like I've been in and out of Al-Anon for 44 years. And every time I go on medication, I'd stop anything spiritual because I didn't need it. I had the medication, right? What did I need? I felt
Oh.
like this. There were no feelings, right? And I didn't recognize my own feelings at all. So the last time I got off medication, I recognized that there was this big hole in my chest. I could literally feel it. And I thought, okay, I'm going back to Al-Anon because there's something spiritual I need to learn. There's something that would fill the hole. And I knew that. Didn't know how to do it, but I knew that that's what I needed. And then, I just kept going to Al-Anon and doing that and following the steps. But what I still didn't realize is that I was still looking for outside things to help me, fix me. I was still looking for that.
Mhm.
And
Mm.
what now I've come to realize through all of this work is that the answers are all in me. I didn't need any outside fixing. They were all inside. I didn't need fixing, really. All the answers were inside of me, but I had to connect with that. And I had to learn, like I learned through, when I first went to conscious communication, I didn't even know, like, feelings and needs. I know that I need food, shelter, and clothing, and that I have two feelings, sad and happy. That's it. Like, I didn't realize that. And so what's that done for me is that it's helped me to embrace every feeling that I have, whether it's negatively charged or positively charged, and help me respect them for what they are. They're just energy. They don't mean anything except that I need to look at what need is not being taken care of or what need is being taken care of and what that need is telling me. And so just to listen to my own body and listen to what's inside of me, not what other people are telling me, what's inside of me. And so again,
Mm.
I think I went off on a little tangent, but so that's,
It was a great
yeah,
tangent. It was a great tangent.
okay.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, where did your victim take you was the question, and I think it was very relevant. Depression, suicide, Al-Anon, very outside sourcing. If anything happens to you, you wanted to run away, you didn't want to go directly
Yeah,
into it.
yeah.
Noticing that victims tend to look outside of themselves for solutions
Mhm.
and
And let the world control them.
really and I think you said earlier too that a lot of your answers came from your head versus in your body versus really trusting what you're feeling and what you're needing. And most people don't even like needs. What is that?
Mhm.
um it's quite revolutionary when people realize, oh, especially Marshall Rosenberg's definition of needs, which is the life-serving energy that motivates and sustains us. If we knew what sustained people and gave them life-serving energy, and it was the same thing that gave us life-serving energy, and we really knew how to work with that, wouldn't we all just be all over that? I mean, why wouldn't we be all over doing that?
Mhm. And it's becoming aware of that. And that's what, like, I was doing some work with someone recently, and I was looking at the map of consciousness, and with the David R. Hawkins, the map of consciousness, and I thought, this is very complicated. How do I make it? How do I define that in an
Mm.
easier way? And I thought, this is a map of awareness, a journey to awareness. That's what it is. When you look at the map and from fear, like the down, like shame, guilt, and bringing it up to enlightenment, it's a map of how we get there, and what makes an awareness of it's awareness. That's what consciousness means, is awareness. And so that was a kind of an easier definition for me. And the awareness
Mm.
of all of it, and then accepting, okay, I'm aware of this now. Okay, accepting it as a truth, accepting it as this is real. This is what's real, not what I've learned in here. The awareness that I'm getting is real. And then taking the action that you need to bring all of those things up in your level of consciousness. So it's just all very relevant to me right now. So it's just like, and it's amazing. It's an amazing journey. I like to say it's difficult, but it's difficult at times, but it's so rewarding. And when you know that the difficulty is going to be, the reward is there, it makes it so much easier. you
Well,
know?
it's going on. I always say people always.
Hmm? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Looks like we're having some technical issues. Mama, mama.